Hi everybody. Thanks for jumping on today. I normally don't do a Wednesday pre-London Open market review, but I decided why not? I was kind of looking at the markets. Today. Today, at the time of this, it is my current time. It's just going into London Open here in about 10 minutes, so not quite midnight New York time, but in about 10 minutes it will be. And so the markets are going to start getting heated up here pretty quickly. And I just kind of want to talk a little bit about this week so far. I'm going to get rid of a couple of things. Actually, no, you know what I'm going to do? Let me skinny this up a bit. No, that's not going to help. So if we look at the US dollar here, and we see sort of what the overall trend has been, it's really, we do have a nice strong uptrend here, and an even stronger one going up into here, obviously. That's not necessarily what we're looking at, though. What I see here is that the market came up and breached these two equal highs here once previously, had a deep retracement, came all the way back up and hit that high again. It spent a little bit of time above it. It closed above it, and then spent another day and another day, and so basically 4 days above that old high, and then came all the way down, and then we sat in here into FOMC last week, and that's where you see this big spike down and rejection, and then and I was under the assumption that that would have been the nice stop run there. That was going to be the low on the week, and we're going to see higher prices and expanding north from there. And we did get a little bit of an uptick going into Thursday, and then you can see this was non-farm payroll on Friday that wicked up into here and rejected and fell short. And now, and this is where I'll zoom in here, and now you look at this and what we've got. We're really working on sort of a descending triangle here. If you see this, and then you've got this guy right there. So, like it or not, we're coming to the crunch time here, and I believe this is going to break out very, very soon here. So you've got this old high here, a non-farm payroll that just wicked above this guy right here, but failed to get above the bodies of those candles. So that's fairly significant. We also have relatively equal highs up here, and then you have on the downside, we have one quick sharp stop run down here and a rejection. And so far, price has not wanted to get lower than 97, the bodies anyway, about 97.18, call it. So here's the thing. Do we expand higher from here and accept this as kind of like a bull flag sort of scenario, even though it is a descending triangle? Or are we looking at this thing coming straight south and running that previous low from FOMC the other day and potentially running back down into this consolidation level? Now, there is an area where I wanted them to come in and run the market down to and tag off of. They didn't do it, and that was pretty much right in here. So a little bit deeper, obviously, than the FOMC candle would have had us into. And that just sort of, again, brings us back down to kind of the daily high of that candle there. That was my hope for FOMC. It is encouraging, though, that they didn't do that, and we saw that reaction. So they didn't fill that range in. That's a fairly bullish sign to me. But the next, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trading days after, it's really done absolutely nothing. And that's kind of what's got me a little perplexed. Why aren't they moving this higher? What are they waiting for? There's not, in terms of economic news, there's not a lot. There's nothing on the radar for this week in terms of economic news. Now, we obviously know that the U.S. has just issued a whole bunch more sanctions and things like that tariffs onto China, and they're pretty much imposing their will. I don't think that's going to last very long. Personally, I think that'll be okay. Yeah, we're going to impose some tariffs, and then we're going to get a deal done, and everyone's going to be happy again, and we're off to the races again. But in terms of economic, news, like going forward, like even into next week, it's pretty quiet, very, very light. There's a couple core retail sales events on Wednesday of next week, and that is really about it. Absolutely nothing else. And the same with this week. We've got Friday that's got a couple of CPI news, and that's really all there is. So I don't think that they're necessarily waiting for Friday to release this thing. I'm hoping we're going to see a move here very shortly. So if we lose, and this was Monday's trade, I'm sorry, Tuesday's trading. Now my hope was, and let me go down to the 1 hour here. This was my hope, and we're starting to see it now here too. And we've still got this gap up in here that has not been filled to the upside yet. We finally had price come in and take out those highs there, which was encouraging, but very, very short-lived. Now, I wanted to see price come down and you know what? Let me just let me clean this up a little bit, just because it's getting a little busy. Okay. So I like what they did here. I like how they came down 1, 2, 3, 4 times, failed to go any lower, because we do obviously have another little gap right here. Yes, it was filled in with that candle there. And let me change the colors here, because we're starting to get a little too much of the same. So we've got, I don't know why I picked that color, but we've got a gap right in here, and they failed to get down into here. And this was obviously Tuesday's trading. You can see they hit the lows, rejected quite strongly, took out that high there, just failed to fill that gap in, and now we're coming straight back down. So here's the thing. If we can get through the current area that we're at right now, there's a good chance that they're going to run those lows. Think of these as equal lows, and all those stops are building up right there. Everyone's got their stop loss right here from this run up, thinking, okay, price isn't coming back down, let's put our stop loss right there. For them to gun these lows right here, hit down into the 97 level. And I don't think it's quite going to go down to 97. 97.02, 97.01, 97.03. It might hit 97, just for argument's sake. I'm not expecting it to, but somewhere within this purple region, I'm looking for them to stab down and reject, and then run higher. And the only reason I'm thinking that is, again, just because of this. Like, they came down here and they rejected, and they came all the way back up. Why would they not come down? Unless they're planning on taking this thing lower. So my line in the sand is, I don't want to see them come back down and trade back down and try to take this low down here. I wanted them to stay above that and stay above 97. If we lose 97, then I think they're going to come all the way back down here into 96.75, maybe 96.50, and maybe even try to challenge these lows. And if they do that, then I think we're going to flip the switch and look at bearish tendencies for the next little while on U.S. dollar until proven otherwise. But if you look at what's going on here, there's still a lot of room above, and we still obviously have this weekly area up here at 98.40 that I believe is the upside target that they're going to reach for. So that's my thoughts, and I was hoping it was going to do this on Tuesday, come down, hit that low, and then reject and run higher. It did come down. It swept below the low on Friday, and it did reject, but it was pretty short-lived. So, and then look at all the Asian range in here. Right after, on the close of the day, they've just been sinking this thing right back down where they came from. And so now it's kind of at that go, no-go point for me. Do they bounce it in here and reject and run higher, or do they trade through it? My money is on that they're going to trade through this, and I think it's going to be quick, fast, and I think they're going to jam it down. So that's what I'm looking for. If we see candles start closing down here and really starting to get very, very heavy, then my eye is going to go to the 97 figure here, and then I'll be watching that very, very closely, because if we flip it over now here to Euro USD, so as you can see, this is what I was looking for to happen on Wednesday. We didn't quite get up to that high. I'm sorry. This is what I was looking for on Tuesday. yesterday, same time yesterday I did this analysis. We got a high on this candle here that came in at, let me get rid of this trend line. The high on this candle here that came in at, I can get it on here. Sometimes it doesn't give me, there it is. High comes in at 112.17. I was looking at a high of about 112.30, so we were off by about 13 pips. Nonetheless, we had a nice trade down for the day, and it came right into the level that I was looking at 111.65 on the downside. And I haven't touched this since Tuesday. So 24 hours ago, that you can see it's exactly what it did. Minus we didn't quite get up into here. Now we look at what we left on the upside though, right? Pretty obvious equal highs up here, relatively equal highs. This always high was a little bit lower than that high. A nice quick sharp stab down, and now look where price is going. It's going right back up to that area. Because I identified, we have that same similar gap that we do have on the US dollar, minus, don't pay attention to this one-sided candle right here. We have that gap right there, and I think there's a good chance they're going to come right back up and fill that, and I think we're going to get that here. And I'd like to see something very similar, where price does a quick run, and we have a very fast, run above these two equal highs here. And I'll put this in like a red, so you can kind of identify stop run red. That's what I'll call that. So I think there's a real chance of this happening, and 10 pips anyway, 10 to 20 pips. I think we're probably going to see that do that. So there's 10 there. And then if we do 20, obviously we'll be right there. Pretty close, which a lot of correlation at that 20 level there. So I think that's what we're going to see. And so what I'm looking for then is basically price just to do exactly that, come in and hit that high or this high or somewhere in between, and then run south. That's what I'm hoping to see. Now, if we see price getting up here and closing up here and not willing to run up and reject quickly, then I think we could see them try to challenge this high up here, and in which case we may run back up, because there are several levels above price here that I think they could get to. And again, if they start doing that, then we're going to see the US dollar clearly be bearish, and we'll take out this low here. This low here. No. Where was FOMC? This low right there. 6 days ago. Yeah, so that's this low right here. Sorry, guys. Got a little mixed up with my charts there for a second. I'm trying to figure out the days. So yeah, if we see that run, and obviously if the Euro USD keeps on pushing, this thing's going to keep on falling. We're going to lose that low from FOMC. And I don't want to see them. I don't want to see that low given up. I'd like to see them just expand higher. If it does, like I say, we can trade it. It's not a problem, but we got to know. So what will happen is more likely they'll come up and they'll come back down and retest these old highs in here. But I think that would be, they'll be closing candles on the hourly up into here. And again, that's not what I want to see. I want to see a real quick wick and a rejection. I don't even want to see price close above that level, above this line, and then move lower. So we'll have to wait and see if that is the play going into tomorrow, but they are certainly moving it in a big hurry. Like, look at the, market hits its low in here, and then everyone starts to go home for the day and close up shop. And I mean, markets run here about 25, 30 pips so far to the upside. So they're trying to get up in a big hurry to do something. Pound dollar, very, very similar. Again, we were looking, we see Monday's big expansion higher, runs everything, comes lower on, this was Friday, comes lower on Monday, brief pop higher Tuesday, and then a nice big deep dip on Tuesday to close off the day, and similar equal lows in here. Cable, however, is a little bit different. I think there's a possibility they could run even deeper, but it certainly doesn't have to. It could reject from here and just go higher. I'm a little more bullish on pound dollar than I am on euro, but that's only just because I think the pound is being manipulated pretty heavy due to Brexit and everything else. And if you guys haven't seen this, if you're new to this, this was a call that I was looking for as price was up in here, and it did exactly what we needed it to do. Nice big expansion higher, and this came up 300 pips almost to the upside. So I hope some of you guys got a piece of that. I talked a little bit about that yesterday, so I'm not going to rehash that. But so we'll see. You know, again, if we see this, you know, come lower and run south. You know, again, this is almost very similar. It's kind of interesting because that's very similar to what we're seeing right here on the U.S. dollar. Very, very similar, right? And this and the U.S. dollar should not be that equally matched in terms of price delivery. So they should be correlated, but they should be the mirror opposite of each other. Anyway, here's what it is, but we'll see what the pound wants to do. I'm still not a huge proponent of exactly what's going to happen, and this thing could literally go anywhere. And look where it's sitting too. You see this area in here? And look back. Look in the previous candles. Look at this huge consolidation area and all of this erratic price trading in this specific block of price. You know, from, well, you can call it right from here, 129.70, you know, up to 131.80. Like there's a 200 pip range in there where price really is spending a lot of time. So you know what, it could bounce around in this area for the next little while as well too, and right back in the consolidation level, and away they go. That wouldn't be definitely out of the realm of possibility either. But anyway, just looking at that, so we'll see what happens there. But I'm looking for price to come down, reject, go higher, and hopefully they rebalance somewhere in. They may not come lower too. I mean, just keep that in mind. But if they could get down to about 130.20, that'd be great. Sort of a 20 level. It's a long ways away. It's 50 pips away, so I don't know how realistic that is, but it could do it. So anyway, I'm going to be looking more so at the euro than I am the pound. U.S. CAD was something else I was looking at too. We had a nice run up on Tuesday, and unfortunately U.S. CAD, it's been, and I said this before on U.S. CAD, so right here basically, which is the 700 mark, which is midnight New York. When I talked about it yesterday at the same point in time, which was right here at midnight New York, I said, honestly, I don't have any idea what this pair is going to do. Pardon me. You can see, similar to the cable, a lot of sideways price action, a lot of wiki, you know, run up, run down type of price, and then we got an expansion higher, and we had the exact same thing happen. It's just coming down, running back up, running back down, and it's just very, very sideways. Fairly decent ranges. Like these ranges aren't small ranges. You know, there's 70 pips. If you can catch a daily range, you know, great. I think that's what you should be banking on. But I just didn't have any idea if this was going to be the low. And you can see where they came down under the low. Like I mean, to me, 134.08 and 7 pipettes. I don't know what the significance of that level is. You know, 134.15, I guess, to the upside is a fairly, but you know, even then, just this area here in general, I don't know why they would have reversed right there. Nonetheless, they came up, failed to make a high, and now it's starting to come back lower again. So very similar. If we get that push down and rejection, I'm hoping that the U.S. CAD will actually fail to get lower than this low here. It might go lower because we do have two equal lows right under here. I'll put a little note there. They could stretch down there. I don't think so. That's pretty far. That's, you know, 70 pips, but I don't know necessarily if that's on the target. If they get under that Yeah, I don't know, guys. And this is where I was at yesterday with the Canadian dollar. I didn't really like this price structure in here. And you know, there's sometimes when the markets they're fluid, they're beautiful, they hit perfect levels, like absolutely to the pip. They're very precise, and this to me is not that. Like there's nothing about this that says fluidity, continuity, and high probability. And so that's kind of why I was electing not to mess with the CAD yesterday, and you can see why. I mean, they popped it up just to drop it down. They filled in this gap here, reversed at some odd arbitrary place, and away they went. Yeah, like it doesn't even line up into there. And now we failed to get higher than those highs here, and now we're coming back down. So we're going to wait and see. If we see any type of support on the downside, we're going to see it either here at 134.55 or here at 134.35. So I'm going to be watching those two levels at the same time as I'm watching the US dollar, seeing what it's going to do. And if we get some support on the US dollar, I'll be looking for price to halt right around this area here, somewhere in here, reject and push higher. If we get that. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I don't want to see them come all the way back down to here, of course. My line in the sand is actually on US CAD is about 134, call it 25 to the downside. If price goes down past 134.25, I'm not really too hopeful that they're, you know, it's just going to be a stop run. I think they're just going to keep continuing down. Then we'll see them run these lows and potentially those lows there. So, I'm not going to talk about US yen, but look at the fall off on US yen. Like this pair is just bottoming out, running for the hills. And I haven't done enough research, guys, to give you any educated opinion on what the US yen is doing and why it's doing this. So I'm going to elect to hold off on this. I got to do some research on what their interest rate levels are like, because I know the yen just came out with a interest rate announcement, I believe, last week, if I'm not mistaken. And you can obviously see the result of that. Oh, you know what I did want to look at is New Zealand dollar. They have a rate announcement right now. We did exactly this with the Australian dollar yesterday, about 15 minutes prior, and it worked out beautifully. And I don't know if you guys saw that one or not, but I'll show it to you right here as exactly as it happened. Am I in the Australian dollar? Hang on, let me just grab this one here. This NZD. I wish they would alphabetize these. It would make my life so much easier. Did I miss it? NZD. There we go. NZD. Usually they have all the majors at the very top. And Aussie, Euro. I must have missed it. Sorry, guys. Bear with me for 1 second. No, I didn't miss it. NZD, yeah, there it is. Okay. I just wanted to bring this one up just because it is interest rate announcement, and look at that. Look at that. So that was here about 2 hours ago. I'm sorry, my apologies. I was reading that wrong. 10 p.m. New York time. I was reading that wrong. Sorry, guys. Missed it by a couple hours, but you can see the result. Price stabbed right down. Finally ran this low out here, and you can see just a big reaction. So here's the thing: if the Australian dollar, the New Zealand dollar, it has some strength to it, and the U.S. dollar is going to see some weakness to it, then obviously we're going to. Oh, it looks like they lowered their interest rates. Actual forecast 1.75, and they lowered their interest rate, I believe. I'll double check that. It was the same with Australian dollar, and the same with same with Australian dollar. They decided to leave their interest rate alone, and that was 1 second here. I just want to get the day. May 6th, Monday. Well, maybe it wasn't on Monday. When did they? Sorry, it was Tuesday. Australian dollar. Huh. Oh, sorry guys, I'm on the wrong week here. Jesus. I'm just looking at Forex Factory right now, sort of on the side. Talking to myself, obviously, which doesn't help anybody. Yeah, it was at 12:30 a.m. Tuesday morning, New York time, 12:30 a.m. Cash rate RBA rate statement. So for the Australian dollar, that's what you got here. You saw price come down, and they had this big gap right here. They had equal highs in here. And I said, well, the price was right in here. It came down, created those equal lows. I said it's going to run these lows, and it's going to fill that gap in, and that's exactly. It just ran down and instantly rejected, what was it, about 100 pips or something? 60 pips, wasn't quite 100. I lied. But yeah, and just ran those highs beautifully and then came right back down. And we just saw another brief dip in here. So they could be pushing this thing higher. And again, as the US dollar runs up, so should, runs down, so should Australian dollar run up. And I'm hoping we're going to see a failure swing in here, and then we'll see them push down and push lower. Because we've got equal lows. Let me pull this off here. We've got a whole bunch of lows right under here that I like, that they haven't come down to get. And they failed to get lower than that low there. So I'd like to see them fail to get higher than that high, and then run all the way back down if we get higher prices in the US dollar. So New Zealand dollar, it is showing some weakness, obviously, right now in comparison to the US dollar. I'm sorry, it is trading the same as what the US dollar is trading. But this should be trading in the opposite direction. You can see it's just running down. So this is actually showing strength. If you look at the New Zealand futures contract, you'd be looking at it and you'll see strength to the upside on that one. And you'll see the exact opposite in the Forex currency basket. But they just ran that low, so that's quite interesting. So we're going to have to wait and see what they want to do here. Go to a weekly. Yeah, they tried to get up into here and spent a lot of time going straight sideways, which is very reminiscent to what the Australian dollar was doing. Look at the Australian dollar in the weekly. Very similar, just sideways price action. So I haven't been trading these pairs because they haven't been trending very nicely. When they trend, they go pretty good, but as you can see, there's really nothing, so to speak of really with these two. Just wanted to look at the rate announcement. Unfortunately, I was off by a couple hours. My apologies, guys. But it would have been pretty self-explanatory that price was going to get crushed and run through this low here, which obviously they did. But look what they left on the upside. Again, a whole bunch of equal highs right there. Boom. Stops are residing above there. They're going to probably run that right back up into there. How many pips would that be? Get a stop run. Current location, 25 pips, that wouldn't be bad. And look what they left up here. They left a nice big gap right up in here as well, too. So that is encouraging. I like to see them do that. That's 50 pips. Left equal highs here. I like how they've structured this, and then they ran that. To me, that kind of leads me to believe that I think we're going to see higher prices on NZD USD. If we fail to get above this consolidation level here, then you can target this low here because they're just going to keep running lower. So, but quite interesting. Anyways, that was about it for Forex. So I'll talk real quick about oil. And then I'm going to wrap this up. I wanted to make this just a real short review session, just give you kind of my thoughts going into Wednesday. Again, Tuesday, it did pan out. And I actually got a short in on Tuesday. I got short in here at on Euro on 111.90. And to be quite honest with you, I did not get out at 111.65. And I got stopped out. My trade was at break even plus like 3 pips or something like that. I was going to hold for a weekly range, and I was looking for them to come under here, but price obviously wanted to reject and do something different. So you know, it is what it is. Now here's the thing: if we see price want to come back down, and this is just something I was looking at now, and come back down and reload off of this consolidation level right here. You see these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles in here. If we see price come all the way back down, slam into that, and then crank higher, there's a chance that this isn't going to be a stop run. So I just thought I'd throw that out there, that they're going to push this up into here. They're going to close this area all up into here and maybe even make a push for that. And again, if we see that, then we're really going to see some downward momentum on the US dollar. And then, like I say, crude oil. So I was looking at crude to come in on Wednesday to fill this gap in. They failed to do that. And again, when I was doing my analysis, it was right at this time right here, and they just fell. They just failed to get back and clear that, close that gap in. And you can see they ran off very, very steeply. I got a trade in on crude oil on Monday, so I'm not too concerned about getting back in to this market. I got a trade. I can't remember exactly where it was. 61. You know what? I know where it was actually. It was 61.60. I think it was. Price came in here, made this consolidation level, expanded up, and it came back down and was retesting these areas. That's when I got long, and then I got a nice move up into. I got about $1 move up to about 62.60 or 62.70 or whatever it was. Didn't get the exact high, but I got pretty damn close to it. And so I'm not too concerned about getting any more out of crude oil. As far as I'm concerned, I paid myself for the week, so we're good on that one. Again, in my demo account, because this is all hypothetically speaking, I'm not dealing with real money here for the purpose of this trading session here. And you can see they ran back into these old lows here, rejected strongly, and we came back down, rebalanced, and that's sort of where I figured they were going to do it. They're going to come all the way back down, and I didn't get a trade-off into here. I literally sat here, and I was watching this come down, and I was like, they're going to come down, they're going to slam into there. They came down once, they came down twice, and I was just watching, and then they had just a big expansion off of it, and to be honest with you, I wasn't necessarily, we were kind of getting really late in the day, and I was just kind of like, you know what? Because I didn't go short on this or anything like that. I was looking at picking up a long here. You know, in hindsight, obviously, I should have done it because we would have been, you know, I probably would have been, you know, up about $1 by now from my initial entry. But I just wasn't really feeling it. There wasn't anything in there that I was like, yeah, I got to get back in. So anyway, what I'm looking at going into, enough about me, let's talk about the markets. I think I like how price is basing right here. I want to see them come back down and trade back down to this level right here, the 61.65 level. And I want to see what they do there. If they have any willingness to continue down here, there is a chance that they could come all the way back down and rebalance at 61.30 level. So that is a possibility. Now, that's if you look at that and you say, well, you know, 30 cents, that's not really a huge margin. You could even take your stop. You know, you could get long somewhere in this neighborhood here. If it comes down to 61.60, 61.50, you could tuck your stop maybe under this secondary low under here, and then just to give yourself a little bit of a buffer, and certainly look at picking up some longs. But there's lots of areas above here that I think they're going to try and run out. Again, a little bit of a gap right here that they left. Price traded down in here very efficiently, very nicely, came back down, retagged, and now we're seeing price expand. So I just want to see them come down a little bit, whether it's in here or in here. I'm looking for them to push higher and basically just do something, you know, something like this in here. And hopefully we can try to make a run for this high here and maybe ultimately, eventually, towards the end of the week, get above that high there. So now what would change my mind if we lose again? I'm still leaving this area on here, but $60, even if we lose $60 to the downside, then there is a chance that we could come all the way back and swing underneath the 58 level. So be careful with that. Again, like I say, if you do decide to pick up an entry on this one, have a tight stop. I'd have my stop sitting under here. I wouldn't leave it too much, and I'd be very cautious, because if they want to start plowing through this low here and this low, they're going to have no problem jamming for this low, and they're going to probably do it quickly, and then ultimately they'll come right back down in here, because they came down once, so they really got no business coming down here again. They shouldn't need to have to come back down and rebalance that level again. So if they do come back down, it means it's going to be a stop run, and they're going to run this low here and subsequently then potentially get back down under here. Okay, so hopefully I've made that clear enough. And that's it. I've been on here for about 30 minutes, so hopefully that helps. Good luck trading tomorrow. I'll be back. Dave will be in tomorrow for all of our paid members at f45trading.com to do an analysis on S&P, gold, and a couple other Forex pairs for you in the morning. And so if you don't know what that's all about, or you want to learn more, if you like the analysis that I provided here, just so you know, we do this on the daily basis at f45trading.com. Jump in, check us out, click or go to our website here, and there's a bunch of options where you can take part in our group. We have a chat room, we've got signals, we do live analysis. There's a ton of support there. We talk about the markets all day long. So if you are an avid trader, or you want to become an avid trader, and you want to learn how to do it, jump on there, because there's some options for brand new beginners as well too. So and if you're a member, like I say, Dave will be in tomorrow morning in the charts as usual at on New York Open. So look forward to that, and we'll catch up to you guys in the chat room tomorrow. Thanks very much for listening today, and I'll be back live again on going to Thursday's London Open, same time for Thursday. So we'll catch up to you then. Thanks, guys. Have a good